Chapter 1. The stillness beneath everything *. You begin with stillness. The kind of stillness that arrives late at night, when the air is soft, and the hum of the world quiets into a single breath. You lie there, eyes half closed, feeling the faint rhythm of your heartbeat. Everything seems unmoving. The walls, the air, even the space between seconds. Yet beneath this calm, the universe is anything but still. The bed beneath you is made of atoms, tiny, restless clouds of energy. Each atom is mostly empty space, and yet it holds the firmness you feel under your body. Inside every atom, a nucleus of protons and neutrons sits at the center like a quiet sun. Around it, electrons dance, not in orbits, as you might once have learned, but in shifting probabilities. They don't circle so much as shimmer, appearing and vanishing. Everywhere and nowhere at once, you are resting on a sea of motion that pretends to be solid. Stillness, it turns out, is just an illusion of scale. If you could shrink yourself down far beyond the size of a grain of sand, beyond the size of an atom, deeper still, you'd see that everything vibrates. Every molecule in your pillow, every atom in your lungs, every quantum particle that makes up your hand, all are in constant motion. Even at absolute zero, the coldest possible temperature, where motion should stop, a faint tremble remains. Scientists call this zero-point energy, the energy that exists even in the emptiest emptiness. And so, you rest on a world that never stops moving. Every breath you take is a conversation between chaos and calm. You inhale, and countless air molecules collide gently inside your chest. Each molecule is ancient, recycled endlessly through time. The air that fills your lungs might once have swirled through the feathers of a bird, or passed through the lungs of someone who lived centuries ago. On this small planet, motion never ceases. It simply transforms. Now, imagine slowing your perception until you can almost see it. The particles of air bouncing softly, like motes of dust in sunlight. The electrons in the copper wires of a lamp nearby, drifting and flowing as current. The heat from your body radiating outward in waves that stretch endlessly into the night. All of it moving, even when it feels like silence. Physics, and perhaps life itself, begins here. In this contradiction, the world seems still, yet it trembles with invisible energy. Quantum physics whispers that nothing is ever truly at rest. Every object, every particle, every thought vibrates with potential. You can feel it, can't you? The faint pulse beneath the quiet, that subtle hum, not in your ears, but somewhere deeper in your sense of being. In the early 20th century, scientists like Max Planck and Albert Einstein first began to suspect that this trembling, this hidden energy, might be the secret behind everything. They found that light, something we thought of as smooth and continuous, is made of tiny packets called quanta, little bursts of energy that act sometimes like waves and sometimes like particles. Planck's idea was simple but strange. Energy doesn't flow in an endless stream. It comes in steps, in tiny leaps. And once that was discovered, the universe could no longer be described as a calm, clockwork machine. It became a place of rhythm and uncertainty, a symphony made of discrete notes, rather than a single endless tone, and so you begin to see the world differently. The stillness around you is not the absence of motion. It is the perfect balance of opposites, motion too small to disturb the senses, yet too alive to vanish completely. As you lie there, imagine the mattress beneath you as a field of microscopic springs, atoms gently pushing and pulling against each other. Each motion is tiny, but together they create structure, resistance, comfort. The same principle holds for everything around you. Your bones, your blood, your breath. You are a collection of dancing vibrations, held together by invisible forces. Your body, this warm constellation of atoms, is an organized whisper of energy. Even the quiet in your room, that thick, soft quiet, is filled with waves. Low hums of electromagnetic radiation drift through the air. Radio signals from distant stations, Wi-Fi signals brushing by your skin, the faint hiss of cosmic microwave background, the leftover echo of the Big Bang, still rippling through the universe after nearly 14 billion years. The silence you feel is not empty. It's crowded with everything that exists. You shift slightly, the blanket rustling like a small storm, and you realize that the boundaries between stillness and motion are not fixed. Every moment of calm is built from motion, too fast, too small, or too subtle to notice. You are not separate from this dance. You are part of it. Your thoughts, too, move like particles flickering between possible paths. Neuroscientists sometimes describe the brain as an orchestra of electrical impulses, firing in patterns of quantum precision. Every idea, every dream, every word you hear now is made possible by electrons tunneling, jumping, weaving through the labyrinth of your neurons. And yet, it all feels so gentle, doesn't it? The science, the physics, the vastness, they are all happening quietly, invisibly, with the grace of a sigh. When you close your eyes, you can almost sense it, the hum beneath perception, the warmth behind existence. You might imagine it as the soft vibration of the world's heartbeat. Every second, every breath, every quantum fluctuation, a reminder that stillness is simply the music we're too large to hear. If you could listen closely enough, you'd hear the dance of electrons, the whisper of particles trading places, the faint murmur of creation happening again and again, and perhaps, somewhere deep in your chest, your heartbeat aligns with that rhythm, because the truth is, you are part of the same trembling matter as the stars. The iron in your blood was once forged in a supernova. The carbon in your skin drifted through the belly of a long-dead star. The atoms that form your body were scattered across galaxies before finding each other again here. Now, in this small moment of quiet, you are not lying on the universe. You are lying within it. A pattern of energy momentarily gathered, breathing softly in the dark. And as you drift towards sleep, that stillness you feel is not the end of motion. It's the gentlest kind of movement, the slow rhythm of the cosmos vibrating through you. Even when you sleep, the world keeps trembling. Every atom in your body continues its dance. The universe hums on, quietly alive, and tomorrow, when you wake, it will still be there, the stillness beneath everything, waiting to be noticed again. Chapter 2. The Quantum Pulse of Being Asterisk. There is a pulse to everything, soft, invisible, and endless. It beats beneath your heartbeat, beneath the turning of the earth, beneath the quiet vibration of the air. You can't feel it with your skin, but it holds you, carries you, moves through you. It is the pulse of being itself, the rhythm of possibility flickering in and out of existence. When you breathe in, you gather the world. When you breathe out, you give it back. And somewhere between those breaths, at the smallest scales of reality, particles blink in and out like fireflies. That is the quantum pulse, a rhythm that writes reality moment by moment. Imagine sitting beside a calm lake at dawn. The surface looks perfectly still, but if you watch closely, you'll see ripples, tiny waves, spreading from invisible movements beneath. The quantum world is like that, serene from afar, but alive with hidden motion when you lean close. Here things do not move in the way we understand. They happen. A particle doesn't travel from one point to another. It simply appears, disappears, and appears again, not as a marble rolling through space, but as a probability, a cloud of maybes. You live in a universe of maybes. It is hard for the waking mind to accept. You like certainty, things that stay where you put them. You like light switches, not quantum switches. But deep beneath the visible world, everything dances on the edge of uncertainty. Every electron, every photon, every quantum of energy exists as both presence and potential. It's as though the universe can't quite decide what it wants to be until it has to. You might imagine this like the rhythm of your dreams. In sleep, your mind drifts between worlds, half here, half elsewhere. Images flicker, merge, vanish. At the quantum level, reality behaves in much the same way. Before anything is observed, it exists in many states at once, a wave of endless possibilities, softly breathing. This idea is called the wave function. It's the mathematical whisper of everything that could be. Only when something interacts with it, when it's measured, touched, or seen, does the wave settle into one reality. You, the observer, are part of this rhythm. Every time you look, the universe chooses. Every time you turn your gaze, it completes a thought. And so, quantum physics isn't only about the smallest things, it's about attention, and how the act of noticing shapes what is real. You can feel that same principle within yourself. Your awareness drifts between many possibilities, like the wave function of your mind. When you focus, you collapse those possibilities into one. A single path, a single choice, a single moment of being. Even now, as you listen, you are shaping reality, not in some grand, mystical sense, but in the simplest and most human way, by giving your attention. Your attention is creative. It builds the now at the smallest scales. That's what the universe is doing too. Endlessly collapsing waves of potential into the fabric of what is. Think of a heartbeat. It's never constant. It rises, falls, pauses. The quantum world pulses in a similar way. Virtual particles, pairs of energy and anti-energy, constantly appear from nothing, then vanish again. They live for an instant, shorter than a blink. Yet their presence gives the vacuum its energy, its hum, its warmth in this way. The quantum field, the background sea of existence, is always breathing, expanding, contracting, becoming, unbecoming. You are resting upon that breath. Scientists once thought of the vacuum as empty, a perfect nothing, but it's not. It's a living space, thick with potential, like a seed waiting for rain. Out of that nothing, everything emerges. Every atom in your body, every star, every sound, every dream. This pulse of being isn't separate from you. It is you when your heart beats, when your neurons fire, when your body shifts in sleep, the same rhythm carries through. You are a localized expression of the universe's vibration, a temporary pattern in the eternal wave. Sometimes, late at night, you can feel it. That subtle sense that you are more than one thing, more than just body or thought, more than even time or place. You are part of a continuum of existence that stretches in all directions forward, backward, inward, outward, and at the center of it all there is this pulse. Quantum physics calls it fluctuation. Poetry might call it breath. And in your quiet state of rest, you can feel both meanings at once. You drift deeper into that awareness. Your breathing slows, your body softens, and the boundaries between self and space begin to dissolve. Each breath feels like a ripple in an invisible pond, sending waves through the darkness, in a way. The entire universe does this, rippling through the vacuum, forming galaxies, stars, atoms, life. Creation is not a single event that happened long ago. It is a continuous rhythm, an ongoing unfolding. Right now, as you rest, the universe is still creating itself, quietly, gently, endlessly. In this rhythm, time feels less like a straight line and more like a soft oscillation. Moments don't pass, they flow, overlapping, echoing. Perhaps that's why memory feels alive, why the past can still touch the present. The quantum world has no strict past or future, only interactions, exchanges, relationships, and you, too, are a web of relationships between atoms, thoughts, sensations, dreams. You are not separate from what surrounds you. You are part of its pulse. In the deepest layers of matter, this pulse never stops. Even the smallest quantum fluctuation can ripple outward, shaping vast things, the birth of stars, the flow of galaxies, the delicate structure of snowflakes. Tiny fluctuations in the early universe became everything we see today. The smallest pulse can create entire worlds, and perhaps, within you, small pulses create inner universes to thoughts, emotions, dreams, each with their own landscape. It's humbling, isn't it? To know that the rhythm that builds galaxies is the same rhythm that builds you, now. As you rest, let yourself drift with that pulse, not to think of it but to feel it, the quiet energy that hums beneath all things. Your heart slows to meet it. Your breathing synchronizes with the unseen beat of creation. You are no longer separate from the world. You are its echo. Reality itself feels softer here, less like a solid wall, more like a wave rolling through infinite space. You are that wave. You always have been. And as your thoughts fade into stillness, the pulse of being continues, steady, ancient, and kind. It will carry you through sleep, through dream, through morning. It has carried you since before you were born, and it will continue long after you have drifted beyond thought in the silence. You can almost hear it, the quantum pulse of being, whispering softly that everything is and nothing is lost. Chapter 3. The wave that knows your name. There is a rhythm moving through you that you cannot see. It flows not through your veins, but through the quiet structure of space itself, a soft tide of probabilities, rippling beneath the skin of reality. This is the language of the quantum wave. It is not noise, nor sound, nor light exactly, but something gentler, a pattern that knows who you are before you ever try to define yourself. You are, in a very real sense, a wave. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but physically. Every particle in your body has a wave function, a mathematical whisper describing where it might be, what it might do, how it might interact. It doesn't exist in one exact spot until it is measured. Until then, it is a spread, a shimmer of possibility. If you could see yourself from the outside, not as a solid being, but as a cloud of energy and probability, you might look like a soft mist glowing with infinite threads. The borders of you would blur and drift outward into the world, merging with the air, the ground, the starlight above. The wave that defines you never ends cleanly. It fades, gently, into everything else. In quantum physics, this is called superposition, the state of existing in many ways at once. An electron can be here and there, spinning clockwise and counterclockwise until it's observed. But perhaps, in your quieter moments, you've felt that too. That sense of being more than one version of yourself. The confident one and the uncertain one. The past self, the future self. The you that acts and the you that dreams. You are a superposition of all the selves you might become. And just like the electron, your wave function collapses when life observes you. When you choose, when you act, when you step into a single possibility. But even then, the rest of you doesn't vanish. It lingers, humming quietly in the background, waiting for another chance to be real. Imagine the ocean at night. The surface glows under the moonlight, countless waves crossing, colliding, reflecting. Each ripple is part of a greater whole, shaped by every drop of water before it. The same is true for you. Every thought, every motion, every molecule is part of a single continuous wave that stretches through time, and this wave remembers light. Too, travels as a wave. A single photon moves like a vibration, spreading out in all directions until it meets something that makes it choose a path. Perhaps that's why the stars seem to speak so softly when you look at them. Their light has been waving through space for billions of years, waiting to reach your eyes. When it finally touches you, the wave ends. It becomes real, a flash, a shimmer, a tiny electric signal in your mind. It's as though the universe completes a sentence it began long before you were born. Each photon that meets your eye knows your name in its own quiet way. It has traveled an impossible distance just to find you. It has no will, no mind, and yet, somehow, it fulfills its purpose when you see it. That's the secret beauty of the quantum wave. It connects intention and reality without either one being in control. The world unfolds through interaction, through relationship, through gentle meetings, one wave brushing another, creating patterns too intricate to ever fully predict. Physicists once believed the universe could be fully known, if only we measured carefully enough. But quantum mechanics taught something else. That uncertainty isn't a flaw in our knowledge, but a feature of existence itself. To be alive is to exist within this uncertainty, to be constantly unfolding, and that's not frightening. It's freeing. You are not a fixed thing. You are a continuous wave of becoming. When you breathe in, you gather energy from your surroundings. When you breathe out, you give some back. Even in rest, you are exchanging photons, atoms, heat, and motion, endlessly blending with the world around you. The wave that makes you is not confined to your body. It stretches outward, touching everything nearby, faintly influencing and being influenced in return. That's what connection really means. Not a metaphor, but a physics. Your atoms are entangled echoes of ancient stars. Your breath ripples through air that has touched mountains, oceans, and other hearts. The universe has never been separate from you. It is you, expressed in motion. You can think of a wave as a song without beginning or end. Each note blends into the next, each vibration giving rise to another. When a musician plucks a string, the sound that fills the air isn't a single tone, it's a chorus of harmonics. Likewise, you are made of harmonics, layers upon layers of waves, resonating together the rhythm of your heartbeat, the oscillation of your neurons, the spin of particles deep within your cells. Each adds its voice to the greater music of existence. And what's most astonishing is that the wave never fully disappears. Even when the form changes from light to matter, from matter to energy, from thought to silence, the wave continues, transformed but unbroken. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change shape. So can you. The physicist Erwin Schrödinger once described matter as frozen waves. The solid things you touch are simply slow vibrations, standing still long enough to seem real. But they are still part of that greater song. Everything you see, everything you are, is part of a universal symphony that began with the Big Bang, and will continue long after the last star fades. When you close your eyes now, imagine this wave, the one that knows your name. It begins somewhere deep inside you, in the small hum of your atoms. It radiates outward, through your skin, into the air, through the walls, into the night. It doesn't stop. It spreads until it touches everything. The trees outside, the surface of the ocean, the edge of space, and then, softly, it returns. Because waves always come home. They echo, reflect, fold back into the space from which they came. In that return, they carry with them the story of everywhere they've been, every interaction, every moment, every subtle touch. That is the quiet truth of quantum physics. The universe is not made of things. It is made of stories, of relationships, of waves intertwining, of endless dialogue between what is and what could be. You are one of those stories, and so is every star that shines upon you. Each wave remembers the shape of the others it has met. Each vibration, each fluctuation, each heartbeat adds a verse to the poem of reality. And when you rest tonight, you are not simply falling asleep, you are returning to that deeper rhythm. The rhythm that hums beneath your name, beneath your mind, beneath your form. The wave that carried you into being, that sustains you, that waits patiently to carry you onward when your time here has passed. As you drift, that wave continues, softly, steadily, endlessly. Through you, around you, within you, the boundaries fade. The separations blur. You are not the listener, you are the sound, and somewhere in that endless song, the universe whispers back, calling you by name, as it has since the beginning of time. Chapter 4. When observation becomes creation, you open your eyes, and the world forms, not all at once, not in a single flash, but gradually, as if space itself were waiting for your attention before deciding what to be. The ceiling above you, the soft color of the light, the faint texture of the air, they all become real in the instant you notice them. It feels ordinary. But beneath the quiet, the smallest particles are responding to something extraordinary. Your observation. In the quantum world, to see is to shape. To measure is to create. This idea began as a mystery, then became a revelation. Scientists discovered that before something is observed, it exists only as possibility, a cloud of potential outcomes. A photon might go left or right. An electron might spin up or down. Only when measured does it settle into one choice. The act of looking changes the thing that is looked at. It isn't magic, though it feels that way. It's the way reality participates in awareness. Observation is not passive. It is a kind of touch, a gentle handshake between mind and matter. You can imagine it like a curtain rippling in a breeze. When you stand back, it moves, freely, uncommitted. When you reach out and touch it, the ripples change. The motion folds around your hand. Your presence alters its rhythm. The same happens at the smallest scales of reality. The universe seems to wait for interaction before it decides what to be. This is the quiet mystery of the observer effect. A principle that whispers, Awareness and existence are not separate things. They are partners in the unfolding of the world. Perhaps that's why attention feels sacred. When you notice something, a leaf trembling, a shadow moving across a wall, you don't just see it, you complete it. In that moment, its reality sharpens. The wave of possibility becomes a moment of fact. Every observation is a small act of creation. Every glance gives shape to what was once only potential. When light enters your eyes, it isn't just a physical process. Each photon, a tiny packet of energy, travels for ages, perhaps across space, waiting to find a destination. And when it strikes your retina, it ends its journey. It becomes something, a color, a form, a moment of perception. You, the observer, give it purpose. But the story doesn't end there. You are also observed. The universe looks back, through the stars, through the reflection in water, through the presence of others. You are part of its field of awareness. The same laws that say your observation shapes reality also say that reality, in turn, shapes you. You and the cosmos are in a quiet conversation that has no beginning and no end. You might notice how, in stillness, perception itself begins to shimmer. The more softly you observe, the more gently the world responds. A candle flicker becomes almost alive. A drifting sound becomes music. The pattern of your breath seems to echo the rhythm of distant galaxies. Observation is not a spotlight, it's a mirror. The clearer your awareness, the more vividly the world reflects itself through you. In sleep, when observation relaxes, the world folds inward, the rules loosen, time stretches, reality flows like water. In dreams, you are both observer and creator at once, building landscapes with thought, summoning faces from memory, letting imagination replace measurement. Quantum physics suggests that this creative partnership doesn't end when you wake. Every conscious moment participates in shaping what comes next. Every perception shifts the probabilities ever so slightly, carving a path through possibility. And so, each morning, when you open your eyes, you are remaking the world, not in a grand, cosmic way, but in the simple act of participating in its being. The world is not given to you. It is co-created with you. Even your smallest choices, where to look, what to listen for, what to remember, ripple outward. Your gaze becomes gravity. Your awareness becomes architecture. Reality rearranges itself, not because it obeys your will, but because it responds to your presence. It is all very gentle. The universe is not demanding your control, only your participation. It is waiting, as it always has, for you to see it, and in that seeing, to help it become. Perhaps this is what the ancient philosophers meant when they said the observer and the observed are one. The division between mind and matter is an illusion born of scale and speed. At the deepest level, there is only relationship, a continuous unfolding of awareness into form, and form back into awareness. You can feel it even now as you lie still and breathe. The world takes shape around your attention, then fades when you turn away. The sound of your own heartbeat fills the space when you listen, and disappears when you don't. The boundary between reality and perception softens. They blend into a single motion, seeing, becoming, existing. This too is a kind of creation, slow, peaceful, unforced. You don't need to strive to make the world. You only need to notice it. And so, as your eyes grow heavy, you realize something gentle but profound. Every moment of awareness is an act of creation. Every dream you dream, every thought that rises, Every flicker of attention, they all shape what it means for the world to be here, and for you to be part of it. As you drift towards sleep, the edges of observation blur once more. The world becomes soft again, fluid again, full of potential. The photons fade into wave. The particles dissolve into possibility. Creation rests, but it does not stop. It breathes quietly through you, waiting for your next glance, your next thought, your next morning, and when you wake, the universe will meet you again, as it always does, half waiting, ready to be noticed into being. Chapter 5. Entanglement, the thread between stars, somewhere between your breath and the sky. Invisible threads connect everything. You can't see them, but they hum softly, holding the world together in ways that seem impossible. When you move, the universe trembles back. When a star collapses, the echo eventually finds its way here, in the gentle pull of gravity, in the whisper of light, in the rhythm of your pulse. At the heart of all this connection lies something so strange, so delicate that even Einstein called it spooky. It's called quantum entanglement, the deep, hidden friendship between particles that share the same quantum state. No matter how far apart they drift, two particles are born together, then travel in opposite directions, perhaps separated by oceans, perhaps by galaxies, and yet, when one changes, the other feels it, instantly, not through space, not through signal, but through something deeper, a unity that ignores distance. You could imagine it like this. You and a friend each hold one end of a thread made of pure possibility. You walk east, they walk west. No matter how far you go, when you tug your end, they feel it. The thread does not stretch, does not delay. It exists outside the map of space itself. This is what entanglement means. A hidden harmony beneath the separations we think define us for a long time. Physicists thought the universe was made of isolated pieces, individual particles following strict rules, bumping and colliding like billiard balls on a cosmic table. But quantum entanglement shattered that image. It suggested that parts of reality can't always be described separately. To understand one, you must include the other, even if they are light years apart. It's as if the universe remembers its own wholeness. Even as it scatters itself into stars and dust and breath, you are part of that wholeness too. Your atoms were once fused in the heart of a star. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your skin, all born from ancient cosmic fire. You carry starlight in your body, and that light remembers where it came from. Entanglement is not limited to physics. It hums through existence like a background song, reminding everything that it was once connected. You feel it when you sense someone thinking of you, when you miss a person and they call, when a melody you haven't heard in years rises suddenly in your mind. Science may call it coincidence, but somewhere deep in the structure of the universe, the rhythm of connection remains. Imagine the cosmos as a vast fabric, not threads crossing in space, but vibrations in a shared field. When one string is plucked, the others resonate, not because they touch, but because they were never truly apart. Even space itself may not be empty. Some physicists think the vacuum is filled with quantum fields, restless, alive, trembling with virtual particles appearing and vanishing. In this field, everything is already entangled, woven into the same living presence. When you close your eyes, you can almost feel it, a faint hum behind the silence, a quiet pulse that isn't yours alone, but shared the background vibration of existence. Entanglement shows us that the universe doesn't just contain relationships. It is relationship. Connection is not an accident here. It is the structure of reality. If one particle knows another, that knowledge never fades. It survives distance, time, even the collapse of stars. Perhaps that is why love, too, feels timeless. Perhaps it is a reflection, the emotional echo of a quantum truth. When you think of someone you love, you reach across space with something invisible. Not a wave, not a signal, but attention, awareness, presence. In that moment, something happens. You change a pattern within yourself, and perhaps, somewhere, the pattern changes back. Einstein resisted the idea. He believed the universe should have rules, cause, effect, sequence, distance. But experiments have shown otherwise. Entangled particles defy those rules again and again. The universe, it seems, plays by something deeper than logic, something closer to poetry in quantum experiments. No signal can travel faster than light, and yet, when one particle is measured, its partner responds instantly, even if light could never bridge the distance between them in time. The connection is not through space, it is space, or rather, it bypasses what we call space entirely. It's tempting to ask how, but perhaps the better question is why does it feel so familiar? Because you, too, live inside connection. Every heartbeat depends on countless invisible threads, gravity holding you to Earth, photons warming your skin, air molecules carrying breath from the trees to your lungs. You are already entangled with the world, in every literal and symbolic way. And maybe that's why loneliness feels so unnatural. Because on the deepest level, you are never alone. Even the smallest particle inside you is still whispering to its twin across the void. At night, when you lie still and the stars begin to flicker awake, you can almost feel that connection pulling through you, soft and silent, older than memory. Somewhere out there, a star you will never see is flickering, and part of its light once touched your atoms. You are its echo. You are its continuation in this way. Entanglement becomes not just a physical law, but a kind of reassurance that nothing is ever truly lost. Every interaction, every shared moment leaves an imprint on the fabric of the whole. Even when you forget, the universe remembers. Perhaps this is what it means for the cosmos to be conscious, not in the way minds are, but in the way harmony exists within sound. Every note depends on another, and together they form the music of existence. The particles do not ask to be together. They simply are. The stars do not try to shine. They simply burn. The connections that bind them are not chosen. They are fundamental, inevitable, eternal. And so are yours. Your life in its smallness and its wonder is an extension of this ancient bond. Every smile you share, every kindness, every heartbeat that synchronizes with another, these are reflections of the same entanglement that began at the dawn of time. Even as you drift toward sleep, the threads hold. They weave through your dreams, through your memories, through the spaces between thoughts. They remind you that separation is an illusion made for the waking world. In truth, you are still connected to every star that has burned, to every being that has breathed, to every possibility still waiting to unfold. The universe is not vast because it is empty. It is vast because it is full of connection. And as you let your body grow heavier and your breath slow, imagine yourself floating in that web of quiet threads, each one shimmering softly, stretching endlessly, pulsing with the heartbeat of creation. You are one vibration among countless others, and yet without you, the song would be incomplete. The thread between stars hums faintly in the dark, reminding you that distance is not separation, and silence is not absence. All that ever was is still here, entangled together. Chapter 6. Time's gentle asymmetry. Time does not rush. It flows, not like a river that hurries to the sea, but like honey poured in slow motion, smooth, golden, and endlessly patient. You live inside this stream, moving gently from one moment to the next, carried without effort. It feels natural that time only goes one way, forward. But why should it? In the world of quantum physics, the laws governing particles don't seem to prefer a direction. An electron could spin one way or the other. A photon could travel backward or forward through an equation, and the math would hold. To nature, time is symmetrical, a coin that can flip either way. Yet in your life, in everything you touch, time feels different. It flows. The arrow of time is born not from the equations themselves, but from entropy, the quiet drift from order to disorder. A glass shatters and does not reassemble. Smoke disperses but never gathers back. You grow, then age. Each process increases the universe's measure of disorder, and that is how we know which way time moves. But to feel it, that's something else entirely. To you, time is not a measurement, but a sensation. It's the way a memory feels warm, while the future feels cool and distant. It's the softness of the present moment, the tiny window where what was becomes what is. You live between the fading echo of what has happened and the shimmering potential of what might. And that in-between space is the gentlest thing in the universe. Imagine lying beneath a slow-turning sky. The stars above seem eternal, but they, too, are changing, burning fuel, radiating light, shifting through time. Their flicker is ancient, yet each glimmer you see is already a story that ended long ago. The light left those stars before your body even existed. You were always looking into the past, and yet you exist in the present, a fragile pause between two infinities. Every second that passes folds away behind you, joining the great archive of what once was. Still, that archive doesn't vanish. It remains, written into the particles, stored in the quantum memory of the universe. Nothing is truly lost. Even time, for all its one-way flow, is more circular than it seems. You might think of it as a spiral rather than a line, always moving forward, but revisiting the same patterns in larger, slower loops. The way the seasons repeat, but never exactly. The way your breath rises and falls, always similar, never identical. Entropy increases, but beauty still emerges from the unfolding. The universe, even as it ages, creates order out of chaos. Galaxies swirl into spirals. Stars forge structure from dust. Life finds patterns within randomness. Time moves forward, yet within that motion, meaning grows. You may wonder, if time can feel slow or fast, can it also stretch differently for different observers? Einstein's relativity says yes. Time bends with gravity, slows near great masses, and speeds up when you move faster. A clock on a mountain ticks slightly faster than one at sea level. Astronauts orbiting Earth age just a little slower than the people below. You may never feel it, but the universe keeps quiet track. Every heartbeat, every moment of sleep, every gentle breath belongs to your unique experience of time. No one else's clock runs quite like yours, and yet time connects everything. Each tick, each instant is shared through the web of causality. the invisible threads of before and after that weave reality together. Without this rhythm, cause would not lead to effect. The world would lose its story. But here you are, listening, breathing, part of the story still being written. The seconds pass like footsteps in soft sand. Each one erases the mark of the last, yet together they form a path. Maybe that's what time really is. Not a current carrying you away, but a record of how you have moved through existence. It is not chasing you. It is following you, quietly, faithfully, like a shadow made of memory. When you dream, that sense of direction softens. In dreams, you can revisit the past, jump between years, watch old faces reappear without effort. Perhaps, as you drift into sleep, your mind releases its grip on entropy, returning for a while to a gentler, symmetrical world, a place where time folds inward instead of stretching out. There is comfort in that, knowing that the strict flow of waking time relaxes when you rest, that your mind, at least, can travel where physics forbids your body to go. And even though you live in a world that ages and decays, there is beauty in that too. For every falling leaf, every fading light, is a testament to motion, to time continuing its work, softly sculpting the universe into new forms. The asymmetry you feel, this one-way flow, is not a flaw. It's the reason stories exist. It's what allows birth, growth, love, and change. Without it, nothing could happen. Nothing could become so. When you think of time, do not imagine it stealing from you. Imagine it unfolding you. You are not moving through time. Time is moving through you. Each breath marks a moment the universe experiences itself in your form. Each heartbeat is the cosmos, remembering itself as human. You are not outside the current. You are the current. You carry the past within you, in your cells, your memories, your atoms, and you carry the future too, in your imagination, your choices, your quiet hopes. When you finally drift to sleep, time doesn't stop. It simply changes tempo. Dreams are its slower melody, the rhythm of thought without the measure of clocks. You rest, but the world continues. The earth spins, the stars burn, and somewhere, far away, light from another century begins its long journey. Toward your window, if you wait long enough, 1 billion years, perhaps even that light will fade. Entropy will smooth everything out, as softly as waves erasing footprints in sand. But that final stillness is not loss. It is balance, the moment when the universe sighs in completion. For now, though time still moves, gently, quietly, endlessly, and you move with it, your breath, the metronome of the moment. The past hums behind you like a familiar song. The future glows ahead, faint but warm, and the present, this heartbeat, this word, this breath, is where eternity passes through you. Chapter 7. The vacuum that isn't empty. Close your eyes for a moment, and imagine nothing. Not the quiet of an empty room, not the darkness behind your eyelids, but true nothingness. No light, no sound, no particles, no space to hold them. It's hard to picture, isn't it? Because the deeper science looks into nothing, the more it finds something. The vacuum, that vast silence between stars, is not silent at all. It hums quietly, invisibly, with restless energy. What we call empty space is alive. At the quantum level, it flickers with unseen motion, particles appearing and disappearing too quickly to measure, like thoughts that form and dissolve before you even notice them. Physicists call this the quantum vacuum, a field that never truly rests. You can think of it as the breath between notes in a song. Even in silence, there is potential, the readiness of sound waiting to return. In the same way, the vacuum is a sea of potential, vibrating softly beneath the calm. In this sea, pairs of particles and antiparticles are constantly born and annihilated. One moment they exist, the next they vanish. Their lives are shorter than a blink, but their effect lingers. These flickers give space, its texture, its quiet fullness. When you look into the night sky, you see stars scattered across a black background. But that blackness, the empty space, is not truly empty. It's a foam of energy so subtle that it underlies everything that exists. If you could somehow listen to it, you'd hear the faint hum of creation itself, a background whisper woven through all existence. Your body rests inside this field, floating in it like a feather in invisible water. Every atom in you interacts with it constantly, though you never notice. It's the quiet pulse that holds everything together, the hidden breath of the universe. At first, this idea puzzled scientists. How could emptiness do anything? How could something made of nothing shape galaxies or atoms? But experiments began to show hints of its power. When two metal plates are placed very close together in a vacuum, they attract each other, not because of any visible force, but because the vacuum itself pushes them. This is the Casimir effect, a whisper from the quantum field proving that nothing is alive with pressure and presence. Even the expansion of the universe may be driven by this unseen energy, what we call dark energy, a cousin to the vacuum's restlessness. Empty space may stretch itself, gently inflating, fueled by the energy of its own existence. In that sense, everything you see, every star, every atom, every heartbeat floats on the surface of a vast invisible ocean of potential, a sea that never stops moving, never truly sleeps. And if you let yourself imagine, it's easy to feel part of that sea. You are made of particles that once flickered in and out of that same vacuum. Matter itself may be frozen. Energy ripples in the field slowed down and shaped into form. Every part of you, from your fingertips to the quiet rhythm of your breathing, is an expression of this field's vibration. You are, quite literally, the vacuum singing itself into form. When you breathe in, you take in air that hums with it. When you breathe out, you release energy that will ripple back into that same background. It's a slow conversation, one that has been happening since the dawn of time. You might think that stillness is the opposite of existence, but in physics, stillness is full of motion, just hidden beneath the threshold of perception. Even at absolute zero, when everything should stop moving, the vacuum does not sleep. There is always a trace of vibration, 0-point energy, the faint remainder of motion that cannot be erased. This, perhaps, is why nothingness feels impossible to imagine, because it doesn't truly exist. Every gap between stars, between atoms, between thoughts is filled with the same infinite hum, the hum that allows things to arise, to change, to vanish. Without it, reality would be frozen, unable to evolve. Sometimes, when you lie in bed in the quiet of night, the silence feels thick, not empty, but alive. There's a kind of fullness in the quiet, as if the air itself is holding a secret. Maybe you felt that a moment when the stillness vibrates faintly, as if something unseen is listening back. That sensation is not wrong. It mirrors the truth that emptiness is not void but possibility. Every pause, every breath, every silence between heartbeats is charged with potential. You could say the same about thought. When your mind grows quiet, ideas begin to form slowly, naturally, as if drawn up from a deep reservoir. In that silence, new realities begin to stir. Perhaps the vacuum is the universe's way of thinking infinite. Stillness filled with infinite potential. The ancient philosophers once imagined the void as lifeless. But now we know that even space itself participates in creation. Matter may fade, stars may die, but the vacuum remains, the constant canvas upon which everything is painted, erased and painted again. If you could zoom in close enough, far beyond molecules, beyond atoms, beyond quarks, you'd find no hard edge where something ends and nothing begins. You'd find only vibration, the tremble of energy pretending to be stillness. That trembling fills every corner of existence, even the empty spaces between your cells. You are not built on the vacuum. You are part of it. You and the space around you are made of the same restless stillness. So, when you think of emptiness, think of it not as absence, but as rest. A rest so deep, it becomes the cradle of everything. The stars above you shine because of it. The atoms within you hold together because of it. And even the smallest moment of your life ripples gently across its surface. Right now, as you lie here breathing, the vacuum hums softly beneath your body, supporting you, surrounding you, reminding you that you belong to something vast and eternal. You are not floating in the void. You are floating as the void, expressed in the shape of a human being. And perhaps, when your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts begin to fade, you return not to nothingness, but to that same quiet fullness from which everything comes. Because, in the end, there was never truly nothing, only a silence waiting to sing. Chapter 8. Quantum Tunnels and Midnight Crossings. Asterisk. There are walls in the world, barriers that seem absolute. A rock cannot pass through another rock. A wave cannot rise higher than its tide allows. You cannot walk through a door that's closed. And yet, in the strange stillness of the quantum world, the smallest things do what seems impossible. They pass through walls. They cross from one side to another without ever climbing over. They slip through existence as if the barriers were just suggestions. This is quantum tunneling, a quiet rebellion at the heart of physics. Imagine a ball rolling up a hill. If it doesn't have enough energy, it should roll back down. But in the quantum world, the ball sometimes appears on the other side, as if it had drifted through the hill unseen. It never breaks the rules. It simply follows a different kind of logic, one written in probabilities rather than certainties. Particles do not choose paths the way we imagine. They exist as possibilities spread across space, and sometimes those possibilities extend beyond what seems allowed. So, when one tiny piece of matter tunnels, it is not disobeying physics, it is simply being physics. In its quiet, mysterious way. You can feel this idea if you think about the moments in your own life when you slipped through what felt impossible. A time when you thought you couldn't go on, and somehow you did. When the world seemed to close in, but a path opened that wasn't supposed to exist. When you passed through fear, through grief, through change, and emerged quietly on the other side. That is tunneling, too. Not through matter, but through meaning. In the soft hours of night, when your thoughts slow and the world fades to grey, you might sense this same quantum patience. The barriers between things blur. The boundary between waking and dreaming loosens. And what seems solid, your worries, your plans, your name, begins to dissolve into a field of gentle possibility. You are tunneling, in your own way, from one state of being to another, from wakefulness to rest, from noise to quiet, from effort to ease. Quantum tunneling is not just theory, it's what makes stars shine. Deep inside the sun, hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium, releasing light and warmth. But they should not be able to do this. The forces that repel them are too strong. By the rules of classical physics, the sun should be dark. Yet, through quantum tunneling, those particles slip through their own barriers and touch, igniting the furnace that lights the universe. Without tunneling, there would be no warmth, no light, no life. Even your heartbeat, your breath, the quiet glow of your body's chemistry, all depend on the same principle. The universe survives because sometimes the impossible happens quietly. It's comforting, isn't it? To think that the smallest parts of reality do not see walls the way we do. They see gradients, possibilities, thin veils waiting to be crossed. Maybe that's why, when you face something that feels unmovable, a worry, a memory, a fear, there's a part of you that can slip through anyway. Not by force, but by stillness, by becoming light enough to pass between the gaps. In the quantum world, nothing is truly trapped. Everything has a chance, however small, to find its way through. It's the universe's way of whispering. There's always another side. As you lie here, your thoughts drift. Some stay close, circling your awareness. Others fade into the distance, tunneling away into dreams. You might feel the gentle pull between waking and sleep, the way consciousness flickers, uncertain, like a particle deciding where to be. That uncertainty is not confusion, it's grace. You are not forced across the boundary. You slide through it, naturally, quietly, beautifully. Sleep is its own kind of tunneling. You do not fight to reach it. You simply allow yourself to drift until you are no longer sure where the wall was. And then, suddenly, you are on the other side. Scientists still debate the mystery of tunneling, how it works, what it means, whether it tells us something deeper about the nature of existence. Some say it reveals that the universe doesn't recognize our definitions of solid or separate, that everything, at its core, is connected through possibility in that way. Quantum tunneling is a lesson in gentleness. It reminds you that even the hardest boundaries can soften, that what seems impossible may simply require patience, not strength, not speed, but quiet belief in the gaps between things. If the particles in your body can pass through mountains of probability, then perhaps your mind too can pass through the walls it builds. The night is wide enough for all your crossings. Every dream is a doorway that opens without effort. Every heartbeat is a small leap across uncertainty. So now, as your body settles deeper into stillness, let your thoughts drift freely. There's no need to hold them or chase them. Let them find their own paths through the folds of your mind, tunneling softly from the surface into the calm below. Soon, you'll find yourself on the other side of wakefulness, not by climbing, not by pushing, but by letting go, because that's what the universe does best. It moves through its own barriers in silence, one breath, one vibration, one possibility at a time, and somewhere in that same silence, you are already halfway through. Chapter 9. Decoherence. When dreams take shape, there's a moment, right before you fall asleep, when the world begins to blur. Shapes soften, thoughts lose their edges. You are neither fully awake nor dreaming, a shimmer between states. In that space, everything feels both possible and undefined. In the quantum world, something similar happens. It's called decoherence, the moment when possibility hardens into reality, when a wave of infinite outcomes collapses into one simple fact. This is what happened. Until that instant, Every particle exists in a quiet dance of maybes. It is both here and there, moving and still, alive and waiting. But as soon as the universe looks, even just by the brush of interaction, the dream solidifies. The wave becomes a particle. The story becomes a single line. You can think of decoherence as the moment your dream begins to take form. Your mind, drifting in the dark, swims through endless images, faces you've never seen, rooms that don't exist, voices without source. Then, slowly, one scene begins to sharpen. You are somewhere, not everywhere. You are dreaming, not floating. Just like that, the infinite possibilities of the night narrow into one unfolding experience. The mind, like the universe, can't stay in the fog forever. It needs to land, to take shape, to become, in quantum physics. A particle doesn't choose to exist in one place. It's the environment that decides for it. The moment a particle touches the world, a photon, an air molecule, a measuring device, its delicate superposition crumbles into clarity. The wave collapses. The uncertainty ends. This is decoherence. The loss of quantum mystery through contact with the ordinary. The soft touch of reality saying, you are here now. In your life, it happens every day. Every decision you make collapses a wave of what could be into what 'tis. Every breath, every word, every heartbeat, they are all acts of decoherence. Tiny crystallizations of the infinite into the tangible. You can imagine your day as a wave function, 1,000 choices, 1,000 futures spreading outward. And then, one gesture, one thought, one quiet action, and all of that potential narrows into the path you're walking. But here, in the softness of night, you are allowed to wander back into superposition, to loosen the grip of definition. You are not one fixed thing. You are a haze of memories, sensations, dreams, and futures. You are more than what the world observes. You are what exists before the collapse. It's peaceful to rest in that uncertainty, to drift between who you are and who you might become, between consciousness and sleep, between this breath and the next. You are, in this moment, both awake and dreaming, both particle and wave, both defined and infinite. When you open your eyes in the morning, the world will decohere again. Light will strike your skin. Your thoughts will take form. The probabilities of the night will fade into the single thread of a new day. But right now, you can linger in the mist, where dreams begin to take shape but have not yet hardened, where imagination and physics meet in the same silent rhythm. In the language of science, decoherence is caused by entanglement with the environment, tiny interactions that strip a particle of its secrecy. It's as if the universe is too noisy for quantum poetry to last. Each collision, each whisper of contact, writes a small note that says, the mystery has been observed. But in sleep, the noise fades. Your senses dim, your body stills, your awareness withdraws, and somewhere deep in your mind, the decoherence of daily life slows down. You return, briefly, to that shimmering field of potential, a private universe where dreams are still uncertain, still forming. Think of it this way. In the quantum world, coherence is like a dream, a fragile web of connection between countless possible states. Once you wake, the dream dissolves. But while it lasts, every part of it is connected, and everything that could be exists together. When you dream, your mind becomes coherent again, its boundaries blurred, its logic loosened. You float in a superposition of emotions and ideas, and somehow it all makes sense. That is your own kind of quantum grace, a nightly return to the fluidity that the waking world forgets. Some physicists believe that decoherence is why we never see the weirdness of quantum physics in our daily lives, because the world we inhabit, so warm, so full of noise and touch and light, constantly forces particles to choose a side. But in the stillness of sleep, you are closer to that hidden order again, closer to the way reality breathes before it takes shape. It's as if your mind, in its resting, becomes a quiet laboratory where the boundaries of self dissolve just enough for the universe to whisper its secrets again. You can feel it, even now, that slow transition as your awareness flickers between two worlds. Thoughts rise, then fade. Memories dissolve into sensations. Your breathing becomes the metronome of the in-between. This, too, is a kind of measurement, not by instruments, but by calm. Every exhale collapses another wave of thought, bringing you closer to stillness. The dream is forming. The noise of the day has softened into a single hum. Your mind decoheres into peace. In a way, decoherence isn't the death of mystery. It's its translation into experience. Without it, the universe would remain an eternal haze of maybe. Nothing would happen. Nothing would become. And so, this process, the fading, the forming, the settling, is what allows both matter and meaning to exist. The wave collapses, and the story begins. Soon, you'll drift entirely into the other side, the place where all the waves of thought have calmed, and what remains is only warmth and rhythm and silence. In that silence, your dreams will find coherence of their own, a story written, aught in words, but in feelings, a physic of peace unfolding softly across your mind, and maybe, just before you let go completely, you'll sense the last shimmer of possibility, the moment before it becomes something beautiful and whole. That's the quiet miracle of the universe deciding, for just this moment, what it means to exist. Chapter 10. The Quantum Mind, Consciousness, and the Sea of Possibility. Close your eyes. Notice the soft rhythm beneath your thoughts, that quiet hum inside your mind. It isn't a sound, exactly. It's a presence. Something alive, moving gently beneath awareness, like a tide that never fully rests. This is where the story of consciousness begins, not in the bright light of reason, but in the deep, shimmering sea below it. A sea made of patterns, pulses, and probabilities, and somewhere within it, perhaps, the smallest movements of quantum reality whisper to the self that you call you. For centuries, scientists have wondered what consciousness truly is. Is it the brain's intricate machinery, a symphony of neurons exchanging signals like stars blinking in the dark? Or is it something deeper, more elusive, a phenomenon that rises from the very structure of reality itself? Here, in the soft quiet of night, you can imagine your own awareness like a field, not confined to your skull, but extending gently outward, blending into the world that surrounds you. Every sound, every memory, every flicker of sensation ripples across this field like light across water. Some physicists, cautious but curious, have suggested that the mind may not only observe the quantum world but may also participate in it, that consciousness could be tied, in some delicate way, to the strange dance of probability and collapse. When you observe a particle, it takes on a definite state. When you dream, the possibilities of your mind seem endless. Could these be reflections of the same principle? the universe, aware of itself through countless small acts of observation. No one knows for sure. But as you breathe slowly in the dark, you can feel the beauty of that question, as soft and boundless as the sky itself. Your brain, even now, is a cosmos in miniature. Each neuron flickers with electric charge, tiny storms of sodium and potassium, currents surging like ocean waves through delicate membranes in every second. Billions of these signals flash across your mind, weaving thoughts, feelings, and dreams together into the seamless story of being alive. But underneath this electrical theater lies something quieter, a sea of quantum activity at the molecular level. The proteins in your neurons vibrate, twist, and shift in patterns so small that even light struggles to see them. Some researchers, like physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, have suggested that these quantum patterns might matter. That consciousness might emerge not in spite of the quantum world, but because of it. Their idea, called orchestrated objective reduction, imagines that quantum coherence could exist in the microtubules, the scaffolding within your brain's cells. If true, then every thought, every dream, might be partly shaped by the same mysterious physics that governs stars, atoms, and the birth of universes. Whether or not that theory proves right, it gives you something to feel tonight, the sense that your mind is not merely an island of biology, but a wave in the larger ocean of existence. The same mathematics that describe electrons also describe your awareness. The same uncertainty that guides particles echoes in your own shifting thoughts. You are, in a very real sense, the universe watching itself think. Think of your consciousness like a beam of light moving through fog. It illuminates what it touches, but most of the world remains soft, hidden, waiting. Each moment your awareness collapses, a wave of possibilities, deciding, gently, what to notice and what to let drift away. You focus on a memory and it sharpens. You listen to the sound of your breath and it becomes vivid. You turn inward and the outer world fades. Just as an observer defines a quantum event, your attention defines your experience. Consciousness, in this sense, is the act of shaping the unknown into the known, and yet there's something humbling about how limited that act truly is. Your conscious mind, the part that thinks, plans, and remembers, is just the smallest ripple on the surface. Beneath it lies the subconscious, an ocean of processes too vast to measure: your heartbeat, your immune system, your instincts and emotions, each quietly orchestrating the rhythm of life without ever asking for your awareness. Even deeper still, below neurons and molecules, exist the particles and waves themselves, the subatomic symphony that keeps every cell humming in tune. It's there, perhaps, that your mind meets the cosmos, where thought and matter blur into one shared pulse of energy. If you could listen closely enough, you might hear it, a quiet frequency humming beneath all existence, connecting stars and cells, brains and atoms. Your heartbeat synchronizes with it. Your breathing flows in rhythm with it. Every life form, every planet, every thought moves to its invisible tempo. This is not mysticism, it's resonance. The universe hums, and your consciousness hums along. There's a gentle paradox in this. The more science learns about the mind, the less certain the boundaries become. Where does the mind end and the world begin? Is perception a private act, or a shared construction of reality? When you see a sunset, light waves travel into your eyes and trigger tiny quantum reactions. But the colors, those radiant reds and golds, exist only within your consciousness. They are the universe translated into feeling dot in that moment. Your mind and the cosmos are one process, matter and meaning intertwined. As you drift deeper into rest, you might imagine your consciousness expanding outward, not as a metaphor, but as a gentle awareness of how seamlessly you belong to everything. The quantum world and the waking world are not separate stories, but two chapters of the same vast book. Each thought you have is like a particle appearing out of the field of possibilities, and each moment of quiet is like a return to that infinite potential. You don't need to solve the mystery of consciousness tonight. You only need to feel it, to rest in it, to let your mind dissolve just a little back into the sea from which it rose. Perhaps consciousness is not a byproduct of matter, but matter is a byproduct of consciousness. Perhaps the universe itself is a vast experiment in awareness, a dream so ancient and complete that every atom plays a role in its unfolding. If so, then your mind is not small at all. It is a node in an infinite network of knowing, a wave cresting on the great ocean of being dot. And as you fall asleep, that wave gently returns to the sea. You feel your thoughts slowing now. They blur and merge, like stars softening behind mist. Your mind, once a flicker of questions, becomes still. You are both observer and observed, both dream and dreamer, both wave and ocean. And somewhere, in the deep silence between one heartbeat and the next, you may sense it, the truth at the heart of all things, that the universe and your consciousness are not separate at all, but two mirrors reflecting the same infinite light. And so the journey of quantum physics, from particles and waves to the mystery of awareness, returns to the simplest of all experiences, the breath. Inhale, the world appears. Exhale, it dissolves. A quantum rhythm, a cosmic lullaby. You are the dream of the universe, and tonight, the universe is dreaming you back.